Recording in progress.
So, okay. So what we are talking about is yesterday I said you about how to work with the nested list. Yes. So I said what is a nested list is. So if you want to write a list inside a list, writing list inside a list is called as what here? Nested list. Okay, nesting of list means within the list if you are writing a list, now that you can call it as
Recording in progress.
representing one student. Like this I said, and after that I said how to create it. Right? Yes. Now let us see some more examples on this, like working with a nested list. So nested list, and the same thing is called as a 2D array, or it is called as a matrix. So it is a 2D array, or same thing is called as a matrix here. Okay. For example, I want to write a, suppose simple example. So I want to write a program to read. So here I want to write a program to read n student details. So write a program to read how many student details, n student details. each student each student is having roll number, okay, name, and one more is a course. So I want to read the details of how many students here, n students. But each student is having roll number, okay, name, and one more is what? Course. So if you take each student is one list, in this example, if each student is one list, okay, then what this list is having? This list is having roll number, and this list is having what here? Name, and this list is having what here? Course. Okay. Now like this, you have to read the details of how many students, n students. Means you have to create the list And inside this list, you should add how many list? N list. You have to create one list, and inside this list, you have to add how many list here? N list you have to add it. You have to create one list, and inside this list, inside this list, you have to add how many list here? N list you have to add it. Okay, you have to add N list inside this. Okay, so how can I do this? So first, you are reading the value of N. So integer of input. Okay, so enter how many. You want to read the details of how many students. You want to read the details of how many students. Okay, input enter how many students. Read the details of how many students. Okay, and you are creating one list. And what is the name of the list? Students. So what is the name of this list here? Students is a list. Okay, N. You are reading how many students here? N students. And this is one list. Now inside this list, what you are trying
Recording
to
in
input?
progress.
Course. Then you are saying enter. What you are trying to enter here? Course. So here, how many values we read here? 3 values. The first value is a roll number, second value is name, and third value is a course. And these values you are storing inside one list. And inside this list, you store how many values? 3 values. A roll number, name, and one more is which one? Course. And this student you are adding to which list here? Students list. By using which method? Append method. So here, for example, if n value is 5, you are creating how many list? 5 lists. And 5 lists are added into which list? Students list. Okay. Then after that, after that, I'm trying to print the details of which one? Students. So I print the details of students. Now, what is the students here? Students is nothing but what here? List. Students is nothing.
Recording in progress.
What you are trying to append here? STUD. STUD is object, right? STUD is which object here? Student object. And this object you are adding to which list here? Students list, right? So just try to understand this. So reading the details of how many students here? N students. And each student is having how many values are there? 3 values. Roll number, name, and course. So let us see here. For example, I want to write a, yes. For example, I want to write a program again to read the scores of how many players here, n players. Write a program to read the scores of n players, and each player, each player is having, each player is having name, and one more is what runs. So find which one maximum score. Find the maximum score and what you have to find out minimum score. You have to find out what is the maximum score and what is the minimum score. So find the maximum score and one more is what minimum score. So write a program to read scores of how many players, n players, and each player is having name and runs his code. Then you have to find out the player who's having maximum, a player who's having which one inside this
Recording in
list.
progress.
There is number of list. Number of lists are there. So you compare the score of first list with what? Second list. Okay, suppose if first list score is greater than second list score, then first list score is what here? Maximum. And this maximum value again you compare with which one? Third list. And if third list score is greater than, okay, this maximum, then third list score is which one? Maximum. So this is how you are comparing it. So here I take one variable that is mPlayer. What is the name of this here? mPlayer. This is nothing but maximum. Okay, max player. So this is nothing but maximum player. Maximum player. Okay, maximum player. Okay, details. Hold by which variable? Max player. So max player is it. Or you can read directly. Okay, you can directly what you can do is you can compare the details by using index. Directly you can compare it by using what? Index, right? So what you can do is for in range of, okay, how many players are there? N players. How many players are there? N players. If I equal to 0, what is first I value? What is the first
Recording in
value in the
progress.
player name? What is the second value in the player score? What is the first value in the player name? What is the second value in the player score? So max player of one, max player of one, the max player of one, okay, the max player of one, or you are saying I of one, max player of one is greater than, the max player of one is greater than players of I and one. So I is nothing but what here? 0. So I is, suppose if it is 0, this is a maximum player. So players of 1 1, players of 1 1 means 1 means what here? Second player. Second player score. Okay, 1 is nothing but, see what is 1? So 2 subscripts are there here. 2 subscripts indicates, this 2 subscripts indicates what? First subscript indicates what? Row. And second subscript indicates what? Column. First subscript indicates what here? Row. And second subscript indicates what? Column. So you are reading second player score. So first player score you are comparing with what your second player score. If it is greater than, you are saying max player, you are saying max player equal to players of which one? I. Max player equal to players of I. That's it. Now, if you see this, this is the maximum player. So just to print the maximum player, who scored maximum. So max player details, you are printing it. Okay. So very simple. You are comparing first player with the second player like this. So this is 2 players. I enter 2 players. Okay. So assume that this is the name of the player and now, oh, now this is reverse asset. Max player of 1 is greater than players of I and 1. Okay, if it is greater than, no, less than. Okay, if it is less than, so then max players of I, max player equal to players of I. Suppose first player details is, what is the first player? 40. Is it 40 is less than, what is the second player score? 10. Is it 40 is less than 10? No. Then it will take the next player. Then compare it. Okay now. So in this case, now if you run this, how many players? Some 2 players. Okay, now this is a first player, and this is what here second player. Now what is the maximum score here? You know. Okay, you enter number of players. You enter number of players. I try to input some 4 players. This is a first player whose score is some 30. Second player whose score is 20. So third player whose score is some 60. And fourth player whose score is what here? 10. So who is having maximum score? 60. Okay, so what you are doing? You are comparing it. You are comparing by saying if maximum player of 1 is less than players of I and 1. So 2 subscripts are there here. Now this first subscript is a row and second subscript is what? Column. So this is second player score, third player score, because yesterday we have seen, okay. So if you are talking about array, matrix is there. If you are talking about matrix, the matrix is having number of rows and columns. So 0, 1, 2. Okay, 0, 1, 2. So 0, now 0, 0, assume that name, and this is what here score. Okay, this is 1, 0 is a name, and this is what here score. Okay, 2, 0 is a name, and this is what here score. Okay, 2, 0 is a score, right? Bold. This is not HTML here. Bolding. You cannot bold it. No bolding here, no formatting like bold, italic, no. Okay, this is not console based. So if you want, you can visualize, right? So this is a name and okay. So this is how you are trying to do it. Okay. Yes. Now what we are doing, you are trying to compare like this. You are trying to compare like this. What is I value? 0. So this is nothing but first row, right? Then if I is 0, is it I is 0? Yes. Then players of I is nothing but players of 0. Players of 0 is one list or not? Yes. This list is assigned to which variable? Max player. Next, I value becomes what? 1. Is it value of I is 1 or 0? 1. This condition is false. Then it will come to what? Else. And max player of 1. What is max player of 1? 40. Is it less than players of 1, 1? So what is 1, 1? Players of 1, 1 means what is 1, 1? 20. So players of 1 is second player, right? Players of 1 is second player, and players of 1, 1 is what? Second player score. Second player score, then players of 1 equal to which one? Maximum player. So otherwise you don't do, right? Like, so this is a simple logic, but this is maximum. But minimum is in the place of less than, you have to write greater than. Minimum is in the place of less than, I should write which one? Greater than. So for I in, this is finding minimum, right? So range of, if I equal to 0, same logic, but in the place of, yes, minimum. So players. So players of which one here? I. Players of I. Else, if a minimum, okay, minimum player of 1 is greater than, so players of I and 1, then you'll write here minimum player equal to players of which one? I. So minimum player of 1 is greater than players of 1, 1, then minimum players equal to players of 1. So here you can display which one here, minimum player. So who got the minimum score, right? How many players? Some 4 players. So first player, right? And this is a second player, and this is a third player, and this is a fourth player. So this is a maximum, and this is what here, minimum, right? So logic is the same, but you can format it by saying maximum player who scored maximum here, who scored maximum here. So this is format. So this is minimum player. So this is who scored minimum, right? So like this, you'll get the output. Some 2 players. This is a first player, and this is a second player. You can see this is a maximum, and this is what here, minimum, right? Yes. So if you want to read data in the form of rows and columns, if you want to read the data in the form of rows and columns, then you go for list inside a list, and writing list inside a list. Writing list inside a list is called which one here? Nested list. If you are writing a list inside a list, so that you can call it as what here? Nested list. Now there are other functions also there. Now there is a function called, now list provide one method called which one? Sort. Okay, list provide one method called which one? Sort. So you don't require to write a logic for sorting. So list is provided one predefined method. So list is provided one predefined method. And what is the name of that method is? What is the name of that method is? Sort. List is provided one predefined method, and the name of that method is sort. Okay. There's a predefined method is provided, and what is the name of that method here? Sort. Okay. Yes. So by using this sort, you can sort the elements either in ascending order or in descending order. So what is the syntax of this sort here? Just here. So what is the syntax of this sort? Now you can see sort, it followed by the key and reverse equal to false. Okay, so this is a sort, and there is a key and reverse equal to false. So this method sort the elements of list in which order here? Ascending or descending? Ascending or descending order. Okay. So default order is what here? Ascending. By changing value of reverse, equal to true, it's sort in which order? Descending order. By changing value of reverse to false, it will sort in which order? Descending order. Okay, it will change into which order? Descending order. So sort key reverse equal to false. This method sort the elements of list in ascending or descending order. Default order is ascending. By changing value of reverse equal to true, it sort in which order? Descending order. It sort in which order here? Descending order, right? So how can you do this? For example, I want to sort the elements of the list. So write a program to sort the numbers or integers, sort the integers in which order here? Ascending order. Sort the integers in ascending order. What I am doing first, I am reading n values into the list. Enter how many integers. You have to input how many integers. I try to add this many number of integers into the list. I try to add this many number of integers into the list. So for in range of n, so this for loop is executed how many times here? N times. Now each time you are reading one value, see here, each time you are reading one value, enter value, and this value you are adding to what here? List. This value is appended to what here? List. You add this value to the list, list one dot append. What you are trying to append here? Value. So integer of input enter value and add this value to what here? List. So this is before sorting. So before sorting, I display the elements of the list. If I want to sort it, I just say list one dot sort. Now then format. Now this is after sorting. I try to display what here? List one. It will sort the elements in the same place. It will sort the elements in the same place. Now enter how many integers. I want to input 5 integers. Some 4, 2 and 3 and 1 and 5. Now you can see 4, 2, 3, 1, 5 is sorted toward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what is the default order? Ascending or descending? Descending. Ascending order. Default is what? Ascending. If you want in descending, you'll say sort reverse. What you are writing here? Reverse. Reverse equal to what? True. Once you say reverse equal to true, now this is again after sorting. In which order? In which order? Descending order. After sorting in descending order, I display the list. So integer, how many integers? I try to input 5 integers. Now these are 5 integers which are input here. Okay, some 5 and 2. Now this is in which order? Ascending order, and this is in which order? Descending order. But to make this order is descending, you have to give the value of reverse is what? True. You have to give the value of reverse is true. Otherwise, it will try to sort the elements in which order? Ascending order. But here there is one more argument is there. What is that argument? Is a key. So key is there. So the key is nothing but the function which has to be applied for sorting it. So what will happen when you are sorting sometimes? What will happen when you're sorting sometimes? Okay. For example, you are sorting the strings. Assume that you are sorting which type of values? String values. So there is a assume that list one having names are there, okay, or some strings are there. Suppose some C. This is first name, and this is a second name, and this is a third name. Okay, this is a third name, and this is a fourth name, and this is a fifth name, and this is a sixth name. Like this. How many names are there in the list here? 6 names are there. Now I want to sort all these names in which order? Ascending order. But all these values are which type? String type. All these values are which type? String. If I want to sort it, I'll just write here list one dot sort. If I say list one dot sort, now you can see the list one is sorted. But when you see this, Okay, now the name which is the name, uh, the string which contain the name with AAA and AAA. So if you see this, both the names, one name is in uppercase and one name is in what? Lowercase. But always the lowercase is greater than which one? Uppercase. Because of that, first it is displayed which letters? Uppercase, and then displayed which letters? Lowercase. But I want this both uppercase and lowercase should be displayed at once, right? So all the names starts with the A should be displayed first, irrespective of which one case. Either it is in uppercase or lowercase. Then what do you do it? You sort it. What do you do it? You sort it by supplying which one? Key. So key is nothing but here key is nothing but the function which is the function should be applied. Key is nothing but which function you want to apply to compare it. Suppose I want to apply one function of stringer. What is the name of the function is upper. Means I'm telling the sort to convert all the values into which case? Uppercase and compare it. Whenever you compare it by converting these values into which case? Whenever you compare these values by converting into which case? Uppercase. It means in this case, uppercase and lowercase both are treated as what? In this case, uppercase and lowercase both are treated as what? Uppercase only. In this case, uppercase, lowercase both are treated as what? Uppercase only, right? So once I print list one, you can see capital. Yes, because all the names starts with the A should be displayed first, irrespective of a case. Then you apply one function. What is the name of the function? Upper. And this function is there in which class? str class. So key is nothing but a function which has okay. Yes. So that is a key here. You can define. Yeah, this is sorting by applying the key. Suppose if the question is like this, write a write a program, write a program to input n integers into list and find okay. So first two maximum values, and minimum, first two maximum values and minimum values. So write a program to input how many integers you should input, n integers into the list and find the first two maximum values and minimum values. Two maximums and two minimums. First two maximum values and first two minimum values. First two maximum values and first two minimum values I have to print. But in the previous case, we can find only one maximum and one minimum by using max. Max function gets what? One maximum. Min function returns what? Minimum. But I want two maximum values and two minimum values. Two maximum values and two minimum values. For example, if you have a list like this, suppose, okay, I need to input how many values? N values. Integer of input, enter. How many integers? You have to input all What is
Recording in
this?
progress.
Minus 2 colon. So minus 2 colon. Minus 2 means right to left or left to right? Right to left. So minus 2 and then minus 1. How many values we read from right onwards? 2 values, right? Yes. First two maximum values and minimum values. So five values are entered. Some 3, 5, 2, 1, and 4. So we have to print, right? So print, okay. So maximum two values. So I just print as a list. So maximum values, okay. So format minimum. So minimum two values. Then I just write here min values, right? So that is maximum values and minimum values. Some 3, 5, okay, 2, 1, and 4 here. Okay, first two maximum values are 4 and 5, and second two minimum values are what? 1 and 2. Because what we did here? Sort. After sorting, we displayed first. We read how many values? First two values. Those are minimum, and we read last two values. Those are nothing but what here? Maximum. But if two persons having same value, so it will return two maximum values, right? So this is helpful in sorting, right? So sorting. So organizing the elements either in ascending order, organizing the elements either in ascending order, organizing the elements either in what? Descending order. Organizing the elements either in ascending order or in descending order. But this sort method sort the list in the same place. In place. In place means it will try to do changes within the list, but it will not sort the list. It will try to do changes within the list, but it will not sort the list. So what we did here, so we just
Recording in progress.
Okay, right now this is a sorted function. And what is the syntax of this sorted is, you are writing like this. What is the name of the function here? Sorted. And it required some iterable. Now you have to send one collection and then it followed by which one? Key. And the key is none and then reverse. Okay, reverse equal to what here? False. Okay, reverse equal to what here? False. Reverse equal to false. So there is a list is there now. Again, list is there. So there is a list one having some values. Okay, so there are some values within the list one. Okay, now this is a list having how many values? Some 6 values are there. Then I'm saying list 2 equal to sorted. What is the name of the function? Sorted by sending which one? List 1. So to list 1, I send to sorted function. I send what? List 1. But is it changes are done in the list 1? No. Changes are not done in the list 1. The changes are written into another list. The changes are not written in list 1. So is it list 1 remains same or not? Yes. But where it is stored the sorted elements in list 2. Where it is stored the sorted elements in list 2. List 3 equal to sorted. Sorted of list 1 reverse. Okay, reverse equal to what here? True. Okay, reverse. Reverse equal to what here? True. I said reverse equal to true. Now list 3. This is in which in different
Recording
ways,
in
right?
progress.
You can create a list in different ways. And within that, another way of creating list is you have a list. What is this here? Comprehension. You can create a list in different ways, but within that, there is one more way of creating a list. And what is another way of creating list? By using list comprehension. List comprehension. Okay, is another way of creating the list. How many ways can you create a list? You can create a list within the square brackets, that is called empty list. Within the square brackets, you can write a values separated with a comma, and you can create a list by using which function? List function. Okay, and you can also create a list by using which one? List comprehension. So this comprehension is called as a display, and is one of the easiest way of creating a list by including if and for loop within the square brackets. Okay, by including if and for loop within the square brackets. Now that is done by using which approach here? List comprehension. List comprehension is there, and this comprehension is also called as a displays. This comprehension is also called as which one? Display. Okay, display is there. See, there are different displays out there. There is a list display and there is a set display and there is a list display and there is a set display and there is one more display is what? Dictionary display. List display, set display, and one more is a dictionary display. Okay, see here. Displays for list, set, and what? Dictionaries. So for constructing a list, a set, or a dictionary, Python provides a special syntax called which one? Displays. And each of them in 2 flavors, either container contents listed what? Explicitly, You are listing the content of the list explicitly, right? By writing square brackets. Within the square bracket, you are directly displaying values or not? Yes. Within the square bracket, you are directly displaying what here? Values. Now, this is one approach. The other approach is they are computed via a set of looping and filtering instructions. They are computed via looping and filtering instructions, and that looping and filtering instructions is called which one? Comprehension. You can write it directly the values within the square brackets. You can directly write the values within the square brackets, right? This is one way of creating a list set or what? Dictionary. The other way is within the square bracket, you can write which loop here? For loop. Within the square bracket, you can write which one? If. If you are writing a for loop and if within the square bracket to construct the list, that you call it as which one? Comprehension. That you are calling it as which one? Comprehension. They are computed via a set of looping and which instructions? Filtering instructions. And that you call it as which one? Comprehension. So there are different types of comprehensions like list comprehension, set comprehension, and one more is what? Dictionary comprehension. So this is nothing but displays. This is nothing but displays here. So comprehensions are the part of which one? Displays. So displaying list. So for constructing a list, set or dictionary, so Python provide a special syntaxes. Okay, yes, either container contents are listed explicitly or they are computed via a set of looping and filtering instructions called which one here? Comprehension. Called which one here? Comprehension. See here, this is called which comprehension? List displays. You can directly write a list displays possibly empty series of expression enclosed in square brackets. A list display yield a new list object that content being specified either list of expressions or a comprehension. See here, it is like this. For example, you are creating a list like this. List one. For example, you are creating like this. List one equal to you are directly writing 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 comma what is that? 60. You are displaying the values directly within the square brackets for creating list or not? Yes. Okay, this is the first approach. Suppose you are writing list 2, you can write 1 plus 2, 3 plus 5, then 5 plus 6 like this. Can you write, can you directly write the expression within the list or not? Yes. Now this is another way, that is nothing but same. So you are listing values explicitly within the square bracket and you are listing values directly within what? Square bracket, but each value is treated as what here? Or each value is treated as what here? Expression. The result of 1 plus 2 is put inside the list. The result of 3 plus 5 is put inside the list. The result of 5 plus 6 is put inside the list. The result of 3 plus 6 is put inside what? List. Now this is first approach. Container contents are listed explicitly. Container content is listed what here? Explicitly. Okay. Yes. Or the container content is listed explicitly or they are computed via a set of looping and filtering instructions, and that you called it as which one? Comprehension. So it means within square brackets. Now this is a syntax one. What you are writing within square brackets, you are writing expression and you want this expression to be evaluated how many times? Number of times. And you want the result to be put inside what? List. Then you include which loop? For loop. So for variable in what? Iterable. Okay. So what you are doing? You are evaluating the expression and you are storing the result of this expression. But you want to repeat this expression how many times? Number of times. Then you repeat it by including which loop here? For loop. It means this expression is evaluated how many times? Number of times. It means this expression is included inside what? This expression is included inside what? For loop. And the evaluation of expression is done and the result of this expression is put inside what? The result of this expression is put inside what? List. Syntax 2 is there. Okay, syntax 2 is there. Then I'm writing expression for variable in iterable and if condition is there. If condition is there, syntax 1 and there is a syntax 2. Two syntaxes are there. For example, I want to create a list filled with zeros. I want to create a list filled with what? Zeros. But how many zeros? 100 zeros. I want to create a list filled with what? Zeros. But how many zeros? 100 zeros. Will you write like this? Will you write 0, comma, 0, comma, 0, comma? How many times you should write here? 100 times. Will it that becomes very complex or not? Yes. But I want to write this 0 how many times? One time. But I should repeat how many times? 100 times. Then I use what? For in range of what is this? 100. For a range of which one? 100. Now this 0 you are adding into the list how many times? 100 times, because this for loop is executed how many times? 100 times. So what will happen if I say print list 1? Your list is filled with how many zeros? 100 zeros. Okay, the list is filled with how many? 100 zeros, right? I want to create a list. I want to create a list with 1 to 100. Will you write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? No. Then what do you do it? You'll just write value for value in range of 1 comma 1 not 1. So what is the first value generated by the range? 1 and that 1 is added to what? List. What is the second value generated by the range? 2 and that 2 is added to what? List. What is the third value? 3. That 3 is added to what? List. Now if you say print list 2 and list 2 is having values from 1 to 100. Suppose I want to create a list by storing squares of all the numbers from 1 to 10. I want to create a list by storing the squares of all the numbers from 1 to 10. I'll say value to the power of 2. What you are adding inside the list? Value to the power of 2. But you are generating values using which loop? For loop. 1 comma 11. What is the first value in the range? 1. 1 to the power of 2 is added. Now, what is the second value in the range? 2. 2 to the power of 2 is added. What is the next value in the range? 3. 3 to the power of 2 is added. What is the next value in the range? 4. 4 to the power of 2 is what? Added. If I say print list 3, list 3 is having powers of all the numbers from 1 to 10. Now this is one of the easiest way of creating what? List. This is one of the easiest way of creating the list by writing everything inside what? Square brackets. By writing everything inside what? Square bracket. This is equivalent to, see, instead of writing like this, you can also write. How you can write? First, you have to create one empty list. Then you should read each time one value in a range of 1 comma 101. Then you should write list 1 dot list 1 dot what? Append. What you are trying to append? Value. So you have written how many statements here? 1, 2 and 3. So instead of writing 3 statements, you write how many statements? 1 statement. So instead of writing 3 statements, you write only 1 statement, right? So these are the 3 statements I write here, right? Now instead of writing 3 statements, you write only 1 statement. First you created empty list and you are reading each time value and you are adding that value to what? List. Each time you are reading value and you are adding that value to what? List. By using which method? Append method. Okay, by using which method here? Append method. So this makes it creating list is more easier. For example, now this is without if. So this is an example of syntax. Syntax what? One. So what will happen every time it will read the value generated by iterable and evaluate expression and then store that result into what? List. Evaluate the expression and store that result into list. Okay, right now. So that is how you are trying to do it. For example, suppose a basic example I'll tell you comprehension. So write some program to read n names and display. I want to read n names and display. Now without so this is without the comprehension. How it is without comprehension? First you have to create one list. What is a list name here? Names list. First you have to create the list. Now this list is empty or not? Yes. You have to read how many names? N names. Read n value. Input. Enter how many? Enter how many names? How many names you want to enter? Suppose for in range of n. If n value is a 5, this for loop is executed how many times? 5 times. And each time you are reading one name. Now input enter what? Name and add this name to what here? List. Names list dot append. What you are trying to append? Name. Names list dot append. You are trying to append the name. Names list dot append. Which one is append here? Name is append, right? So after that, I'm trying to display what I'm trying to display? Names list. But for this, you write how many statements? For this, you write how many statements? For example, two names. So Naresh and Suresh is there. Okay, right. So is it stored or not? So first I read the name and add it to what? Names list. For doing this, how many statements are written? 1, 2, 3, and 4. But instead of writing 4 statements with what is this? Comprehension. You can simply write like this names list equal to within square brackets. Whatever you write in the square brackets is called what? List. Inside the list, you should input or inside the list, you should input what? Name, enter name. But how many names you should enter? Inside the list, how many names you should enter? N names. Then you should say for n range of, what is this? N. How many statements I have written? Only one statement. So every time, now this for loop is executed how many times? N times. Now every time it will read one value and store inside what? A list. So print, what is this here? Names list. So once you run this, enter how many names? I said 3 names. Okay, now these are the names. Okay, then enter name. Okay, again enter. So this is a name and yes. What is it? Output is same or different? Same. But instead of writing this many number of statements, you write this in how many statements? Only Or instead of writing number of statements, you write this in how many statements? Only one statement. You're not writing number of statements, but you're writing in how many statements? Only one statement. So is one of the elegant way of creating the list. I mean, single line statement, you are creating the complete, in single line, you are creating the complete list. In single line, you are creating the complete list. Now there is one more syntax is there. So this is a syntax one, right? But syntax one is with condition or without condition, without condition. But syntax two is with condition. Now this is used for filtering. Syntax 2 is for what here? Filtering. Okay, this syntax 2 is used for filtering. Now this syntax, okay, this syntax is used to filter. Filter, what is that? Data. Filter means based on some condition, you read the data or add the data. Based on the condition, you read the data or what? Add the data. Based on the condition, either you read the data or add the data. For example, suppose there is one list is there. There is one list is there. And this list is having so many values like this. Number of values are there inside the list. Okay, like this number of values are there inside the list. Now from this list, I want to separate. From this list, I want to separate which numbers? Even numbers and odd numbers. I want to separate even numbers and I want to put inside even list. And I want to separate odd numbers and put inside which list? Odd list. What I want is I want to separate even numbers and odd numbers. What do you do it? Suppose if it is without comprehension, you create how many lists now? Two lists. One is even list which is empty, and one more is which list? Order list which is empty. Every time you read one value from list 1 and then you verify, is it value mod 2 equal to 0? If that value is 0, if the value remainder of that is 0, then you'll say which number? Even number. Then you'll say even list dot append. What you're trying to append to the even list? Even numbers. Else you're saying odd list dot append. What you're trying to append to the odd list? Value. So each time you are reading one value from where? List, and then you are checking, is it that value mod 2 equal to 0? If the value mod 2 equal to 0, you are adding that value to which list? Even list. If the value mod 2 is not equal to 0, you are adding that value to which list? Odd list. But how many statements? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 statements are there or not? Yes. So print which list here? Event list. Print event list, and then print which list here? Odd list. I try to print even numbers and I try to print which one? Odd numbers. Once you run this, this is even numbers list and this is what? Odd numbers list. But you have written number of statements or not? Yes. Instead of that, what you can do is you can write in how many lines? One line with the comprehension, with the comprehension, what you can do it? You can put everything in single statement. This is which list? Even list. Within even list, you are storing what? Value. But from where you are reading value from? For value in, you are reading from where? List 1. And when you are adding the value, if value mod 2 equal to what? 0. See here, add this value and read the value from the list. If the value mod 2 equal to 0, then only it will add this value into what? A list. Suppose this is which list now? Odd list, and then value, add the value. But from where you are reading the value from? List 1. But when you are adding the value, if value mod 2 is not equal to 0. When you are adding the value, if the value mod 2 is not equal to 0. If the value mod 2 equal to 0, this value is added. If the value mod 2 is not equal to 0, this value is added. So how many statements are written? Single statement or multiple statements? Single statement. Here, how many statements are written? Multiple statements. So comprehension makes it writing everything in square brackets only. The for loop, you can write within square bracket. You can write what? For loop, because you want to repeat one expression how many times? Number of times. You want to repeat one expression how many times? Number of times. So within the square bracket itself, you are writing for loop, and you want to add the values based on some condition, and within the square bracket itself, you can write one condition. After reading value based on the condition, you evaluate expression and store the result into list. So same result. Now this is event list, the list which contain even numbers, and this is the odd list which contain which numbers? Odd numbers, right? Yes. So write a program to separate even and odd numbers from given list. Separate even and odd numbers from given list